I'm about to make a lot of you mad. Today, we're ranking every killer in Dead by Daylight. But instead of just throwing them into random tiers, every killer has to earn their placement. They'll be scored out of 10 in 3 categories: anti-loop, map pressure with mobility, and power consistency, for a final score out of 30. This is going to be based on high MMR only. By the end of this video, we'll figure out who's overrated and who's actually the strongest. First up, we got
7 minutes.
Albert Wesker, aka the Mastermind. The chase anti-loop, 7 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 7 out of 10. Power consistency, 7 out of 10. And when I made this, I know what you're thinking. You did this on purpose. I didn't intentionally do this, I swear. I guess 7 minutes really is all Wesker needs. Wesker is one of the most balanced killers in the game, which is exactly why I've given him a 7 in every category. His virulent bound gives him solid chase potential, which allows him to quickly close distance and can provide some mobility around the map. Infection also gives him a little extra slowdown by forcing survivors to use first aid sprays. However, his power can be inconsistent around cluttered loops in certain map geometry, and strong survivors can make his bound difficult to land. He's good at almost everything, but isn't overwhelmingly dominant in any single category, making him a high B+ tier killer. Next up, we got Mommy Skull Merchant. Ugh, that's a rough one. Okay, I think we need to create a completely separate category for Skull Merchant, just due to how bad she is. Skull Merchant has a chase, anti-loop, 2 out of 10, map pressure, mobility, 5 out of 10, power consistency, 2 out of 10, and that was me being generous. Her total is 9 out of 30. Skull Merchant sits at the very bottom because her current kit simply doesn't provide enough consistent value compared to almost every other killer in the game. Her drones can provide some tracking and area control, but her chase potential is extremely limited, and much of her power relies on survivors actually interacting with or entering her drone zones. She lacks reliable anti-loop, doesn't have exceptional mobility, and struggles to consistently force downs against strong survivors. While she can still get value in specific situations, her overall power level and consistency are so low that I can't justify putting her anywhere above F tier. Hence why she is ranked so low. Next up, we got a fan favorite, probably one of the most popular icon slashers to exist, the Ghostface. The chase anti-loop is 4 out of 10, the map pressure mobility 3 out of 10, power consistency 5 out of 10, and the grand total being 12 out of 30. This one hurts a lot, man. He desperately needs a rework and a buff. So many people love this killer, including myself, but Ghostface lacks in so many different areas. The mobility is awful, map pressure is non-existent, his entire kit is built on stealth, but it feels like it takes forever to get any value out of it, which makes sense but also allows him to easily get gen rushed because of it. He gets bullied and struggles in mid to high MMR greatly, and it's very hard to get anything above a 2k at times. He belongs in D tier, and he's been down there for quite some time. Buff my guy, bro. Buff Ghostface. Now we have the most loved killer in DBD, the Knight. The Knight has a chase anti-loop of 9.5 out of 10, map pressure and mobility 8.5 out of 10, power consistency 8.5 out of 10, with the grand total being 26.5 out of 30. Our highest one so far. I gotta put him in A+ tier, even in high MMR. Knight earns A+ tier because his guards give him some of the strongest anti-loop and map control in the entire game. At many loops, dropping a guard essentially forces the survivor to immediately leave or risk being pincered between the Knight and his summon. His guards can also pressure generators, patrol areas, break pallets, and force survivors off objectives, while the Knight focuses on something completely different. Basically 2 killers in one. His biggest weakness is that experienced survivors can exploit guard AI and banner mechanics, but when played correctly, the Knight can create situations where survivors have very few good options. That's why I have his anti-loop at an almost perfect 9.5. He deserves this ranking, and rightfully so, which is why he is so hated by survivors in the DBD community. So unskilled or not fun to play against. I don't know. Personally, I love him. You know, I I don't like going against him as much, but hey, it's a survivor-sided game. We need strong killers, and it's just a skill issue on their part. They always complain whenever there's a strong killer. They just don't know how to loop. That's literally all it is. Next up, we got Springtrap, aka Freddy Fazbear. I'm about to piss off all the Five Nights at Freddy's fans. I'm just kidding, guys. Springtrap has a chase anti-loop of 8 out of 10 with the map pressure mobility 7.5 out of 10 and a power consistency of 7 out of 10. The total, 24 out of 30. Now hear me out. Springtrap earns A tier because he has a highly versatile kit that gives him strong chase potential and excellent mobility. Basically, he's a better Huntress who can teleport. Yes, he doesn't have as many hatchets. His axe allows him to threaten survivors at range, while the security door system lets him rapidly reposition across the map and maintain pressure on gens. It also gives him an undetectable status effect, which basically means you don't know when he's there or he's coming most of the time. While there are opportunities for survivors to counter his abilities, and his power requires good decision making, his combination of ranged pressure, mobility, and consistency easily places him in A tier. Then we got Miguel Myers, another famous icon in the horror community. Miguel Myers, whatever you want to call him. His chase anti-loop is a 6.5 out of 10, map pressure mobility 5 out of 10, and the power consistency 7 out of 10, with a grand total of 18.5 out of 30. Michael Myers got reworked a couple months ago. Some dislike it, but me personally, I think it just made him stronger. He now has an insanely good lunge ability that can easily one hit down and mind game survivors easily on loops. It also shreds pallets quickly, swiftly reducing the time it takes in chases. However, his downside is the time required to get the power, of course, and keep it. His lack of mobility really hurts his ability to be in a higher tier, because gens will easily pop fast due to his lack of pressure. With all that being said, I think I'm gonna have to put him in, honestly, low B tier. He could potentially drop down to C tier in high MMR, but due to the fact that he can one hit down, I will be placing him in B. We got Hillbilly, a fan favorite in the community. Not very many haters out there for Billy. The Hillbilly's chase anti-loop is a 7 out of 10 with the map pressure mobility, a solid 8.7 out of 10. A power consistency of 8 out of 10 with a grand total of 23.7 out of 10. Hillbilly is one of the only killers in the game that can one hit down survivors. His map pressure and mobility in general is one of the best in the game, allowing him to get across the map in a matter of seconds. In loops, he can struggle a little bit due to his chainsaw ability not being able to have a solid turn rate most of the time. If survivors are competent, they can easily dodge the chainsaw by slightly moving to the left or right. But if you're insanely cracked like some Billies are, there's just nothing you could do sometimes. So arguably, you can honestly put him in A+ tier if you're really good at hitting your chainsaws. If not, I say you're at least an A tier killer, just due to his high mobility and forgiveness for having one hit down potential consistently. Next up, we got the Trapper, the OG himself. I mean, he's always been in D tier. I don't know if he's ever going to leave it. He also needs a buff of some sort. I highly doubt they'd rework him. The Trapper's chase anti-loop is 6.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility is a crazy 1 out of 10. And power consistency of 5 out of 10. With a grand total of 12.5 out of 30. Trapper is lacking in a lot of categories. While not a terrible killer, he still has viable ways to somewhat be a problem. However, if survivors are competent, he can be powerless. Trappers rely on setting up early game, and if survivors disable those traps, you're practically an M1 killer with no abilities. Sure, you can trap loops, but that won't stop them from just holding W key to a different loop. Due to his lack of mobility and lackluster power, he can't consistently create enough map pressure or traverse the map fast enough to be a problem. So therefore, he's gonna be ranked in D. No surprise here. Now we got Wraith, one of the best beginner Dead by Daylight killers, and also who I started with. So if you're new watching this, definitely recommend you give him a try. Chase anti-loop is a 6 out of 10. Map pressure and mobility is an 8 out of 10. And the power consistency is a 6.5 out of 10. With a grand total of 20.5 out of 30. Wraith's a great killer for beginners, like I said. But once you get to high MMR, he struggles a lot. His mobility is solid in his cloaked form, and you get a nice speed boost after uncloaking, which can help him win 50-50 loops and also grants him an undetectable status effect, so he's a stealth killer. However, once survivors know you're a Wraith, you're usually easily countered by being a regular M1 killer. Even if you're a really good Wraith player, the most you can probably ever be is gonna be a B tier killer. We're just focusing on high MMR. Just want to reiterate that. He can still shred pallets. He has great add-ons that can make him super mobile and get across the map instantly and help him body block survivors, which can help him get some free hits. Now we got the Hag. Chase anti-loop for her is going to be 8 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility 6 out of 10. Power consistency 7 out of 10. Total being 20 out of 30. One of the least played killers in the game now. Hag is very good at cutting off loops and gathering info on survivors' whereabouts, but there's a reason Hags are barely played nowadays. She's not the strongest killer and not that fun sometimes. She has to set up her traps, which can easily be avoided by survivors. It may help you get a couple free hits here and there, but the survivor can hold W key and waste a lot of your time making you set up again to get any value. She lacks mobility if her power isn't triggered. There's also a distance cutoff, significantly hurting her overall map presence. For those reasons, I gotta put her in C. Now we got the Doctor. His chase anti-loop is sitting at a 6 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility 6 out of 10. Power consistency 6.5 out of 10 with a total 8.5 out of 30. The Doctor can be super annoying to play against, especially if they have a terror radius build that makes skill checks incredibly difficult. The constant terror radius and unknown skill checks can give the Doctor an edge over survivors and help gather info on their whereabouts. He can also prevent you from using your items or interacting with loops entirely if played right. However, once you know this fact, all you have to do is hold W key. Prolonging chases, which can waste a lot of his time. He also doesn't have any mobility to help him get across the map to pressure generators. For that reason, he'll have to be the highest he could probably be is low B tier. But in all honesty, since we're doing high MMR, I'm going to put him in C tier just due to his lack of mobility. You don't have mobility in high MMR, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. Now we got the Huntress, mommy Huntress herself. Huntress is one of the best projectile killers in the game. Her chase anti-loop is sitting at an 8.5 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility 3 out of 10, unless you're orbital Huntress, which is pretty rare. Power consistency 8.5 out of 10. Grand total is going to be 20 out of 30. We're going to put Huntress in the B tier. Huntress really relies on having good aim, and if you don't, it's GG's for you. Her base speed is pretty slow as is, allowing survivors to bully you on loops, especially if you don't have hatchets. If survivors know you like to throw hatchets over pallets or windows, they can easily dodge them or greed. However, if you're a really good Huntress, even if you dodge, it won't matter. She deserves to be in B tier despite her lack of mobility, just due to her anti-loop capabilities. I would probably put her in low B, probably B minus if we had a category. Now we have the artist, the goth baddie herself. Her chase anti-loop 6.5 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility 6 out of 10. Power consistency 6.5 out of 10. Total 18.5 out of 30. We're gonna place artist in C tier. Artist is a strong killer with the ability to shut down loops and pressure survivors from across the map, but her actual effectiveness can be inconsistent against experienced players. Her crows can force survivors away from strong loops, scout generators, and potentially damage survivors from a distance, giving her both anti-loop and information. Problem is that good survivors understand how to repel crows, bait her shots, and simply leave loops when she starts setting up. She's theoretically capable of incredible plays, but getting consistent damage against experienced survivors is much harder than it sounds, which is why I'm going to leave her in C tier. Let's go ahead and rearrange this. I think we're going to put Michael at the end. That would make the most sense. Next up, we got the Cannibal, aka Bubba, aka Leatherface, Basement Bubba, Booba, so many nicknames. The Cannibal is another one-hit down killer. His chase anti-loop is an 8 out of 10, map pressure, mobility 7 out of 10, power consistency 8 out of 10, with the grand total 23 out of 30. Cannibal is a very solid pick. His chainsaw power can easily down survivors if they're not careful, and he's also one of the only killers in the game to one-hit down multiple survivors at once. He also shreds pallets like it's nothing. His mobility isn't amazing, but his map pressure due to his power is what makes him so good. Not much else to say about him. I gotta leave him in B tier, in the middle of the pack. Next up, we got Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare himself. We got his chase anti-loop at a 6 out of 10, map pressure mobility as 8 out of 10, and a power consistency at a 6.5 out of 10, with a grand total of 20.5 out of 30. Freddy's anti-loop is pretty underwhelming compared to most killers. His dream snares can slow survivors and make certain loops less safe, but experienced survivors usually just leave the tile or play around them. Dream pallets can catch newer players off guard, but experienced survivors, they're much less reliable. His generator projection is the strongest part of his kit. Being able to teleport to generators lets him defend objectives and quickly rotate around the map, especially in the early and mid game. Survivors can cancel the teleport by committing to the generator, but it still forces them to make decisions and gives Freddy respectable map pressure. His power is reliable enough that you'll get value almost every match, but the value itself isn't particularly impactful. Survivors passively fall asleep over time. His teleport is always available, and his snares work on every map. The problem is that none of those tools are especially threatening compared to stronger killers. He's consistent, just not consistently powerful. Freddy is the definition of mid. For those reasons being said, I'm gonna put him in B tier. If he didn't have his teleport, he honestly probably would go in C tier. Next up, another licensed killer, the pig, Amanda Young. Chase anti-loop, 5.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 6 out of 10. Power consistency, 5 out of 10. With a total of 16.5 out of 30. The pig is a very lackluster killer with a lot to be desired. She's a stealth killer with a lunge ability that can help her get the jump on survivors. She also has a head trap mechanic, which can be useful for stalling and wasting the survivor's time. But her mobility sucks, and her lunge ability can be easily dodged most times. Her traps aren't hard to take off. A little annoying, but the survivors have plenty of time. Due to all this, we gotta put her in C tier. Yo, buff Ghostface though, buff Ghostface. Ugh. Next up, the clown. I absolutely despise the clown. My most hated killer, the most skillless killer in the game. If you play the clown, I speak on behalf of the DBD community. Fuck you. His chase anti-loop is a 9 out of 10. His map pressure mobility is a 6.5 out of 10. His power consistency is an 8 out of 10, with a grand total of 23.5 out of 30. The clown gets 2 bottles, one to slow down the survivor and one to give haste. As you can imagine, these in chases, as most of you have experienced, his pink bottle is great for anti-looping and significantly reducing the time survivors can loop. Not only that, but he can give himself haste, allowing his mobility to skyrocket. His bitch ass is gonna be in B tier, standing for bitchless. I refuse to put him higher. Fuck this guy. Next, we got another fan favorite, the Spirit. Oh, Spirit, my beloved. Her chase anti-loop is 8.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 9 out of 10. Power consistency, 9 out of 10. One of the most broken killers upon release. Before her nerfs, she was easily S tier and one of the most feared DBD killer survivors have ever known. Since her nerfs, she has never left A tier. Her phasing ability still remains insanely strong and can help get free hits no matter the loop. Good luck against a good spirit who can smell colors, because you will not stand a chance. So, with all that being said, I'm gonna put her in A tier because she is mind gameable on certain loops. Unless you're just that fucking cracked as spirit, then she could honestly potentially be A plus tier again. Now we got the Legion. The Legion sitting at a 6.5 out of 10 for anti-loop, map pressure 10 out of 10, power consistency 8 out of 10, with the grand total of 24.5 out of 30. Another amazing beginner killer for new DBD players. Legion has one of the best mobility powers in the game to this day. He allows easy free hits to all survivors. He has great add-ons that can make survivors play Men's Simulator and also destroy drop pallets. However, the Legion lacks in chase once survivors are injured. His power can't down survivors unless you chain attack, which can be very difficult at times. You can honestly argue to put Legion in A tier, which I'm kind of hesitant to do because in high MMR, I haven't played much Legion or seen much Legion in high MMR, but due to his ability just being that freaking good, I will leave him in A tier. Next up, Vami Mommy herself. Chase anti-loop, 6.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 5 out of 10. Power consistency, 5 out of 10, with the total 16.5 out of 30. Now this one's a bit hard. The plague gets her power of Survivor's Cleanse, which most of the time someone will eventually, but once they do, it unlocks her crazy strong black vomit projectile, which can easily down survivors over any loops on the map. Her map pressure isn't the best, but it's also not horrible due to her being able to infect everything she vomits on. Her mobility is non-existent, which prevents her from maintaining consistent pressure. This might upset some of you, but she belongs in C tier. Maybe, just maybe, if she's getting a bunch of cleanses and she has access to her black vomit, they're cleansing like crazy and you're crazy with your shots with the vomit, then she can go B tier. But honestly, I gotta put her in C tier. Next up,
what the dog doing?
Demogorgon, aka Demo Dog. Everyone's favorite dog in DBD. Chase anti-loop 6 out of 10. Map pressure mobility 8 out of 10. Power consistency 6.5 out of 10 with a grand total 20.5 out of 30. Demo can easily traverse the map with portals he places anywhere around the map and gets a pretty good lunge ability that can help in chases and loops. However, survivors can get rid of his portals, which can waste the survivor's time in hindsight, but also gets rid of his teleport ability once completed. His map pressure when he has multiple up at the same time and his lunge ability allow him to sit in the C tier. I know this may come as a surprise, but in all honesty, in high MMR, when your portals and abilities can get canceled out and your lunge being easily dodgeable, there's not much else you really got going for you at that point. Hence why you're going to be in C. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Another popular fan favorite, Mr. Testosterone himself. DBD's most fun killers. Chase anti-loop 6 out of 10. Map pressure mobility 10 out of 10. Power consistency 9 out of 10. With a grand total of 25 out of 30. Oni, by far, easily, he's going to be put in A+ tier. He can be extremely difficult and annoying to go against. A pure rage demon that has the best snowballing in the game. He thrives off of injured survivors, which feeds him his power. The longer survivors are injured, the more you feed him, giving him access to his power consistently. Once he has enough blood, you have to be extremely careful, even as an experienced survivor. He's insanely mobile and can even one-hit down survivors instantly, without you even having time to react. He's an M1 killer when not in power, but he can get it so frequently and get value out of it each time. There's no debate that he doesn't belong in anything but A tier. Now we got Deathslinger. He's slinging the dead. We gotta put Slinger. This one's rough actually. His chase anti-loop is a 7 out of 10. His map pressure mobility is a 4 out of 10. And his power consistency is like a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Floating around 18 out of 30, right? He's not the strongest, but he's not the weakest. He's very power reliant. If you have a bad game with your shots not hitting, you're most likely going to lose. It's hit or miss with Slinger, literally. I describe Slinger as mid. Now, I know some of you disagree, but hear me out. Due to him having no mobility, survivors being able to dodge his shot, he's basically the same as Trapper, low key. Yes, Deathslinger is much better than Trapper, but he's an M1 killer at the end of the day. Yes, you can injure with your spear gun, but after that, you're kind of like Legion, but less consistent. You really have to rely on hitting your shots over pallets, which can help at least injure them. For that, honestly, man, I want to put him in B tier, but it would feel wrong if we put him above Plague, considering they're so similar in terms of projectile and map pressure and mobility. Honestly, nah, we're gonna put him in B. He's better than Plague. I said what I said. I said what I said. Argue with the wall. Another fan favorite, the Executioner, aka Pyramid Head. I love Pyramid Head so much. His chase anti-loop is 7 out of 10. Map pressure, 5 out of 10. Power consistency, 7 out of 10. With a grand total of 19 out of 30. It's a killer that relies heavily on his power and accuracy to injure or down survivors. Without it, he's just a regular M1 killer. Missing his power can be punishing, allowing smart survivors to extend chases that punish you and increase the likelihood of wasting your time. I feel like he has a lot more unpredictability as a projectile killer because you can just negate line of sight and just hit them through the wall and get free downs with it. I was hesitant and gonna put him in C tier, but then I thought about it. He can also instantly hook people without even having to pick them up, which is really good against flashlighters, which is always in high MMR. His mobility lacks. If he's in high MMR and you're playing him optimally, we can put him in B tier. And just keep in mind why Plague is down here. She needs people to cleanse to get her power. If they don't cleanse, you're kind of cooked. We got the Blight. Chase anti-loop, 9 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 10 out of 10. Power consistency, 9 out of 10. With a grand total of 28 out of 30. Easy S tier. There's no debate on that. A good Blight will make him extremely unpredictable and unstoppable in the right hands. His chaotic nature allows him to create huge map pressure and also negate loops. He's one of the only other killers in the game that can be considered S tier. He has it all. Map control, mobility, power consistency, anti-loop. Easily the second best killer in the game. Now, notice how I said second best killer. Because next up, we got the Nurse. With an anti-loop chase, 10 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 10 out of 10. Power consistency, 10 out of 10. Total, 30 out of 30. The Nurse is by far the best killer in the game and always has been. She defies all game logic and game map geometry, game physics, and is the only killer able to do so. There is no mind gaming or looping a good Nurse. While still doable, she is very difficult, even for the best survivor players out there. She will most likely always remain the best killer and is one of the only S tier killers in the game. In all honesty, she deserves a category above Blight because that's just how powerful she is. And there's a reason she's been consistently the best killer in the game since it came out. Now we got the twins. Ugh. With a chase anti-loop, 7 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 7.5 out of 10. And a power consistency, 7 out of 10. A board killer with a low pick rate, the twins focuses on Victor to either get free injuries due to his high mobility and can help cut off loops. This allows Twin to maintain map presence on both sides of the map when not in control of Victor. It helps her be in 2 places at once. However, her chase anti-loop, she turned into an M1 killer at that point. She has to rely on Victor. If you're not hitting those jumps or shots with your little kid, you're cooked. You're cooked. So for that reason, I'm gonna, if you're playing a really cracked twins player, you're gonna be A tier. But I have to put you in B tier because against high MMR, there's still not much you can do unless you're slugging and snowballing. You'll definitely be A tier. Now we got Trickster. Trickster's chase anti-loop, 6.5 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 3 out of 10 with the power consistency, 6.5 out of 10. Grand total, 16 out of 30. Trickster's gonna land in C tier. While his chase can be oppressive in the right situation, he's extremely dependent on the loop and map he's playing on. In open areas or at short loops, his knives can absolutely shred survivors, but against high walls and strong structures, his power becomes significantly less effective. His biggest weakness is his complete lack of map pressure and mobility. He has no way to quickly traverse the map, teleport, or pressure multiple areas at once. Overall, Trickster can be deadly in the right hands and under the right circumstances, but you could say that for all killers, but his inconsistency and poor map presence keeps him firmly in C tier. Now we got another fan favorite, Mr. Tunnel himself, the Nemesis. Nemesis is an extremely solid all-around killer. It's one of the better anti-loop abilities in the game. Chase anti-loop is at 8 out of 10. Map pressure mobility is 7 out of 10. Power consistency 7 out of 10, sitting at a grand total of 22 out of 30. Once his tentacle is upgraded, he can attack survivors over pallets and through windows, and his ability to instantly break pallets makes him incredibly efficient in chase. His zombies can also provide massive information, interrupt generators, and occasionally create free pressure. Although their usefulness can be wildly inconsistent, the main thing holding Nemesis back from the higher tiers is that he has to hit healthy survivors 3 times with his tentacle to actually down them, which can give good teams too much extra time. Still, his strong chase, pallet breaking ability, and consistent power can easily place him in B tier. Next up, we got the Cenobite, aka Pinhead. Anti-loop, 8.5 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 9.5 out of 10. Power consistency, 8.5 out of 10, with a grand total of 26 out of 30. Sheesh. Pinhead is gonna earn A tier. Now, whether he's A plus or A, We'll have to figure that out right now. His possessed chain gives him strong anti-loop potential, but the real strength of his kit is the lament configuration. The box constantly forces survivors to make a decision, ignore it and risk a chain hunt, or have someone stop what they're doing to go solve it. A good pinhead who consistently locate the box can completely take over a match and keep survivors permanently occupied. He requires a lot of game knowledge to reach his full potential, but his combination of anti-loop, passive slowdown, tracking, and global pressure makes him one of the strongest killers in the game. It's tough because if it's high MMR team, I don't think he goes into A+, just because if you're playing a team that knows you're playing Cenobite, which obviously they're going to figure it out pretty quickly, they'll have good comms in terms of who's going for the box and who's doing what, and you're not going to get very good use out of your chains as consistently if they're constantly solving the box, even if you teleport to them. So with that being said, I don't think I can put him in A+. He'll have to go in A tier. Next up, we got the Onryo, aka Sadako. Onryo's chase anti-loop is sitting at a 3 out of 10, map pressure mobility a whopping 9 out of 10, and the power consistency a 7.5 out of 10, floating at a grand total of 19.5 out of 30. Sadako is unusual because her chase ability is one of the weakest on this entire list, but she makes up for it with some of the best mobility in the game. Being able to teleport between TVs allows her to constantly reposition, defend generators, surprise survivors, and build condemned on them. Threat of Amori also forces survivors to interact with tapes instead of sitting on generators. Her biggest problem is simple. Once she actually finds a survivor, she doesn't have much to help her end the chase. Against strong loopers, that can be a massive weakness, but her mobility and passive pressure are strong enough to keep her B tier. She can arguably be put in A, but I don't think we can put her further. I just don't, man. I just don't. You got a lot of B tier killers, man. A lot of them. Whew, man. Now we got Dredge, aka Dredgeusy. Y'all don't like that, did you? Anyways, the Dredge is highly underrated in my opinion. His chase anti-loop is 9 out of 10. Map pressure and mobility 9 out of 10. Power consistency 9 out of 10 with a grand total of 27 out of 30. Dredge earns A+ tier easily. It's incredibly well rounded with elite anti-loop, mobility, and map pressure all packed into one power. The Remnant allows Dredge to completely shut down many loops by forcing survivors into a lose-lose situation, while Locker Teleportation lets it cross the map almost instantly and maintain constant pressure. Then there's Nightfall mode, which reduces survivor visibility, removes the terror radius, making him undetectable, and makes teleportation even stronger. Its biggest weakness is being somewhat dependent on locker placement, but on a good map, Dredge can absolutely feel oppressive. Very few killers have this much chase potential and mobility combined into one kit, which is why he's gonna sit on top of A+ tier. Now we got Singularity, aka Singu, the clanker himself. Singularity is one of the most mechanically demanding killers in the game, which requires you to always use your brain. We got a chase anti-loop sitting at a 9 out of 10, map pressure mobility at 8 out of 10, power consistency 8.5 out of 10 with a grand total of 25.5 out of 30. When played well, he's absolutely terrifying. His biopods allow him to monitor large portions of the map, track survivors, and teleport directly into chase. Once in overclock mode, he becomes incredibly difficult to loop because he can rapidly close distance and shred through pallets. The biggest thing holding him back is how much effort is required to get consistent value, especially with EMPs giving survivors a direct counter to his power. But in the hands of someone who truly understands him, Singularity has some of the highest potential in the game, easily earning him A tier. I think in the hands of a really good Singularity player, just because of the map pressure and his teleport ability, and he could just destroy pallets, he's got to be put in A+ tier, man. There's no way we could put him below that. Now we got the Xenomorph, aka the alien. Xenomorph is a solid... Xenomorph can be considered a solid A tier killer. Unlike Demogorgon, you can't get rid of Xenomorph's teleportations. The chase anti-loop is 7 out of 10, with the map pressure mobility with an 8.5 out of 10 and the power consistency 7.5 out of 10 with the grand total of 23 out of 30. The Xenomorph is a solid low A, potentially B tier killer because it combines strong mobility with reliable anti-loop. Its tunnel system allows it to quickly travel around the map. You know what? With that being said, I'm actually going to put him in B tier. The main issue is that survivors have a built-in counter through the flame turrets, which can knock Xenomorph out of its power and force it to waste time recovering. It's a strong and versatile killer with a combination of turrets and the precision required to consistently land tail attacks prevents it from reaching the higher tiers. We got the good guy, aka Chucky. Chucky's chase anti-loop is 6 out of 10, map pressure mobility 5 out of 10, power consistency 6 out of 10 with a total of 17. Another C tier killer. Holy bees, man, so many of them. Chucky earns C tier because of his small size, third-person camera, and slice and dice ability, making him an incredibly dangerous in chase. His height makes him really difficult to track around certain loops, and hidey-ho mode allows him to approach survivors more stealthily. However, his overall map pressure is limited by his slower movement speed, and his power can be punished heavily if he misses. Chucky is fantastic at catching survivors off guard and ending certain chases quickly, but his lack of true global pressure and dependence on landing slice and dice keeps him from the higher tiers. Man, oh man, bro, we're getting into my favorites now. We're getting to my mains. We got the Lich, and I'm gonna try to be not biased at all with these, right? Okay, his chase anti-loop is gonna be 9 out of 10, map pressure mobility 9 out of 10, power consistency 9 out of 10 with a grand total of 27 out of 30. Potentially, the Lich could technically be S tier, but in high MMR, he can still struggle just a tiny bit if survivors know how to counter his spells. So for that reason, I have to put him in the highest category of A+ tier. He probably is the best A+ tier killer because his 4 different spells give him an answer for almost every situation in the game. Mage Hand can manipulate pallets, Blight of the Damned provides ranged pressure, Fly gives him excellent mobility, and Dispelling Spear provides valuable information while disabling survivor magic items. His versatility means he rarely finds himself completely powerless in any situation. The main challenge is knowing exactly when and how to use each spell. Once mastered, Vecna can control loops, travel quickly, gather information, and constantly adapt to what survivors are doing. He's easily one of the most complete killers in the game, hence why he is ranked so high. Now we got other Vecna, Stranger Things Vecna. The first, bro, should be named the second, considering that he's not the first Vecna in the game. No, was it funny? Okay. The first chase anti-loop is an 8.5 out of 10, map pressure mobility 8 out of 10, power consistency 8.5 out of 10, with a grand total of 25 out of 30. We got another A tier killer. The first earns A tier because of a strong combination of anti-loop mobility and overall power consistency. Its abilities allow it to quickly close distance, threaten survivors at loops, and maintain pressure across different areas of the map. Unlike more specialized killers, the first has tools that remain useful in a wide variety of situations, which makes the power difficult for survivors to completely neutralize. With an 8.5 in chase and an 8 in mobility and an 8.5 in consistency, the first doesn't necessarily dominate one specific category, but is strong enough across the board to comfortably earn a spot in A tier. Now we got the Hound Master. Somebody needs to call animal control on this damn dog, man. I'm tired of it biting my arm. I can't get away. Chase anti-loop 8.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility 7 out of 10. Power consistency 7 out of 10 with a grand total of 22.5 out of 30. The Hound Master is just shy of A tier because her dog gives her powerful chase potential and the ability to pressure survivors in a way most killers can't. The dog can be used to track survivors close distance and potentially catch them during chase, making her especially dangerous when the player is skilled at predicting survivor movement. However, her power isn't always consistent, particularly around complicated terrain and map geometry, and mistakes can cost valuable time. Her ceiling is high, but the reliability of her power keeps her just outside A tier for me. Now we got the Ghoul. My boy Ken. Kaneki, bro. The Ghoul's anti-loop and chase is 8 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 9 out of 10. Power consistency, 9 out of 10. With a grand total of 26 out of 30. I'm gonna have to put Ghoul in A tier, the highest of the A tier. The reason being, his Kagane leap gives him exceptional mobility and chase potential. He can rapidly traverse the environment, close distance on survivors, and chain movements together to create extremely aggressive chases. His ability to quickly reposition makes it difficult for survivors to gain meaningful distance. And once he builds momentum, he can maintain constant pressure while mastering his movement requires practice, and certain environments can limit his options. The combination of speed, or chase power, and consistency makes Kaneki one of the strongest killers in the game. One of the most fun, by the way. I love swinging around like Demon Spider-Man, the Dark Lord. One of my personal favorites. Again, not going to be biased. Chase anti-loop, 8 out of 10. Map pressure, mobility, 9 out of 10. Power consistency, 9 out of 10, with a grand total of 26 out of 10. Another high A+ tier killer. 3 forms, man. Dracula has 3 forms. What other killer has that many? He's incredibly versatile. He has vampire form, which provides ranged anti-loop with hellfire. Wolf form gives him strong tracking and chase potential, and bat form provides excellent mobility around the map and stealth. Being able to constantly switch forms means Dracula can adapt to almost any situation, whether he needs to chase, travel, or pressure survivors. His biggest weakness is that maximizing his potential requires good decision making and knowing exactly which form to use at the right moment. But his combination of chase, mobility, and consistency makes him an easy A+ tier killer. Now we got the unknown, the Skinwalker himself. Chase anti-loop, 9 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 8 out of 10. Power consistency, 8.5 out of 10, with a whopping 25.5 out of 30. The unknown is gonna earn A tier because it has an incredibly versatile kit that gives it both powerful anti-loop and strong map mobility. His little gumball can damage survivors through walls and punish them for grouping together, while hallucinations allow the unknown to teleport across the map and immediately apply pressure to different objectives. Good survivors can dodge his gumball and dispel his hallucinations, but doing so requires time and attention. With strong ranged attacks, teleportation, and constant pressure, the unknown has an answer for almost every situation and comfortably belongs in A tier. Now we got Krasue. Krasue's anti-loop chase is going to sit at a 7 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 8.5 out of 10. Power consistency, 7 out of 10. With a grand total of 23 out of 30. Arguably, you could put her in B tier, but I think just due to her mobility alone, we have to put her in low A tier. She has a versatile power that provides solid chase potential and strong mobility, but she doesn't quite dominate either category enough to reach anything higher. Her ability to switch between forms gives her different options depending on the situation, allowing her to pressure survivors and navigate the map effectively. However, maximizing her power requires good timing and decision making, and experienced survivors can take advantage of its limitations. She's a strong, flexible killer with few devastating weaknesses, but her overall chase consistency keeps her at low A tier, potentially high B tier. Now, last but not least, the latest addition to the game, Jason himself. I call him Timu Jason, Jeremy Voorhees, because this is Jason Universe, not Friday the 13th Jason. But hey, we'll take what we can get, man. Bro was nerfed upon release. Free my man Jason. His chase anti-loop is 8.5 out of 10. Map pressure mobility, 9.5 out of 10. Power consistency, 9 out of 10. With a grand total of 27 out of 30. Jason is going to be in A tier because he combines excellent anti-loop with some of the best map mobility in the game. His ability to quickly reposition himself to maintain constant pressure and appear where survivors least expect him, while his chase tools make him incredibly threatening once he finds someone. He's difficult to completely shut down because his power remains consistently useful throughout the match, whether he's chasing, patrolling gens, or repositioning. With a 27 out of 30, Jason has the statistical profile of an A+ tier killer. So he could technically be pushed down, especially if you don't have good aim or you're good at dodging his projectile. Well, that's your tier list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you think, if you agree. I worked extremely hard on editing this video for you guys. So don't be a hater. Hit that subscribe button. Go follow me on Twitch. We're live almost every night, facing bully squads, swifts. But that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Much love. Peace.